What happens when two well-known TV personalities sit down for an easy, friendly chat, only for everything to slowly fall apart in front of a live audience? Before diving into this tense exchange, picture the usual tone of Kelly Clarkson's show. It's warm, relaxed, full of kindness, and a place where guests feel safe sharing their stories. But on this afternoon, something shifted the moment Valerie Bertinelli stepped onto the stage with her familiar smile, waving as the crowd cheered. She sat across from Kelly, and at first everything felt normal. They talked casually, joked a little, and Kelly praised Valerie's new cookbook. Then Kelly leaned forward with that curious look she has when she's ready to ask something deeper. She asked Valerie about her journey after her very public divorce and how she'd been rebuilding her life under constant attention. Valerie's smile tightened just slightly, but she answered with grace. She spoke about finding herself again and learning to care for herself. The audience listened closely, completely engaged. Kelly related by sharing her own difficult divorce, and the moment felt honest and real. But then Kelly brought up some recent posts where Valerie had shared her struggles with body image and the lifelong pressure to look a certain way in the public eye. Kelly said she admired Valerie's openness, but then added a question that changed everything. She asked whether Valerie felt it was confusing to talk about body acceptance, while also promoting diet products and wellness programs. Suddenly, the air in the room felt heavier. Valerie paused, choosing her words with care. She said her body journey was personal and that being honest about her struggles didn't mean she had all the answers. Kelly nodded but pushed again, mentioning that some fans felt unsure how to interpret the mix of body-positive messages and weight loss promotions. She asked whether Valerie worried about damaging her own credibility. Valerie sat up straighter, her tone sharper now. She said the question ignored the reality that people are complicated, that women especially are put under impossible standards, and that being honest didn't mean she owed anyone perfection. Kelly tried to interrupt, but Valerie kept going, saying she'd spent years being told how to look and what to do, and that sharing her experience didn't mean she was required to fit neatly into anyone's idea of what body positivity should be. Producers exchanged nervous looks as the studio grew uncomfortably quiet. Kelly seemed surprised by the change in energy and tried to guide the conversation toward Valerie's upcoming projects, but Valerie wasn't ready to move on. She told Kelly directly that it was disappointing to see someone who claimed to support women use the moment to question another woman's choices in a way that felt more like shaming than curiosity. She said this kind of judgment was exactly why so many women stayed silent about their real struggles. Kelly looked stunned. She said she wasn't shaming anyone, only asking questions she believed viewers had. Valerie responded with a short, dry laugh and said the questions felt targeted and designed to expose contradictions. She added that Kelly didn't ask these types of questions to all guests, wondering why she was being singled out. Kelly insisted she asked tough questions of everyone, though her shaky voice suggested the comment had struck her. Valerie said meaningful conversations required trust and good intentions, and that she felt blindsided. She had come expecting openness, not interrogation. Kelly tried again to calm things by saying she didn't intend harm and might have worded the question poorly. Valerie replied that the issue wasn't the wording, it was the assumption behind it. She said public women are expected to be perfect symbols of every issue they touch, and any slip or contradiction is held against them. Kelly countered that accountability wasn't perfection, and that public voices had responsibilities. Valerie asked whether Kelly had ever considered that contradictions could come from someone still learning, still healing, not from hypocrisy. Kelly said people had a right to question public figures who influence others, especially when money is involved. Valerie's face tightened at that. She said Kelly was now hinting she wasn't honest about her intentions. She pointed out that Kelly also had sponsorships and asked whether that meant everything. Kelly said should be questioned, too. Kelly tried to explain the difference, but the uncertainty in her voice showed she wasn't fully sure of it herself. Valerie said everyone in their field made compromises, and pretending otherwise was unrealistic. She wondered if Kelly was genuinely concerned or simply trying to create a dramatic moment. Kelly said she would never exploit someone's pain for attention and that Valerie was overreacting. That finally pushed Valerie to her limit. She stood up suddenly, startling the room. She said she'd been in countless interviews and had never felt this disrespected. Kelly rose too, trying to connect, but Valerie stepped back. She said she came in good faith, but felt ambushed and wouldn't stay to be treated like a target instead of a guest. The studio erupted into whispers as producers rushed forward. Kelly insisted Valerie was taking things too far, that it was only a disagreement. Valerie looked at Kelly with disbelief. She said calling it a simple disagreement minimized what had happened and that Kelly knew it. She said she could tell when someone was truly curious and when they were creating conflict for effect. Kelly's voice grew sharp as she said Valerie was twisting her intentions and that perhaps Valerie felt defensive because there was truth in the questions. The remark stunned Valerie. She said Kelly had revealed her judgment, not curiosity. Kelly crossed her arms and said she was being misunderstood, that the questions were fair. Valerie said Kelly was confusing accountability with judgment and had framed everything in the harshest way possible. Kelly said she couldn't win, that Valerie was determined to paint her as the villain. Valerie replied that all she wanted was to be treated with respect, not accused of dishonesty. Kelly said she felt attacked for doing her job. Valerie said asking hard questions didn't require making someone feel small. Kelly insisted she'd been listening, but Valerie said listening meant being open, not just defending yourself. Kelly's eyes filled with emotion as she said she was trying her best, and being told she was the problem was extremely painful. Valerie's expression softened only slightly. She said intention didn't erase impact, and that the interview had become painful for her. She said she needed to leave before things got worse. Kelly reached out, asking to take a break and try again later. But Valerie was already moving toward the edge of the stage. She said some conversations couldn't be fixed in the moment, and that staying would only deepen the damage. She walked off as the audience reacted with scattered applause mixed with stunned silence. Cameras followed her exit, and Kelly stood alone, shaken. She told the audience she'd never had a guest walk out before, and that she had never meant to hurt anyone. A producer signaled urgently, and Kelly turned back to the camera, saying they needed a break. The camera lingered on her face, capturing confusion, hurt, frustration, and regret. Offstage, Valerie was likely dealing with her own mix of emotions. Moments like these draw attention because they reveal something unfiltered and human. Two women who usually seem polished and composed, caught in a conflict neither intended to escalate. It was messy, emotional, and real. So what do you think happened here? Was Kelly pushing too hard, or was Valerie reacting too strongly to fair questions? Who do you think had the stronger point in this clash?